Civil Media.
Почитувани присутни, јас како мојот колега Манчевски на почеток
As my colleague Manchevski, I will also speak initially as a minister regarding what we do for democratization of the election processes, and then I will speak as a party president presenting our views on the current issue and the debate today. We are debating it for years, and if we have the will to do something, this is the right moment, even if it will apply not from the immediately pending elections, but somewhere in the future. Regarding the ministry, we were championing open lists. That was part of the election program of the coalition and is part of the government's policy to open the list for election of council members and MPs. Since I started my term as a minister, I started the process of decentralization in 3 pillars. One is delegating new institutions and competences to the local self-government, the second one is fiscal decentralization, and the third one is changes to the operation of the local self-government. One of the activities that should be implemented until the new year is adoption of new amendments to the law on election of council members, where they will be elected from open lists. There is government's consensus on this because this is part of the government's program. The leader of the opposition presented his support to the idea of open list, and the Albanian political parties have nothing against this. The opening of lists for council members, and since there is consensus, I'm expecting that we will close this by the end of the year so that the political parties will be able in the next elections 2 years from now, they can be prepared and every political party can table such list. This was also a recommendation from CELS because also the municipalities want to have quality councillors in their councils, not that they are just for the money, not just to draw their salary, but they want quality councillors that represent their constituencies, which will improve the work of the local self-government. This is our contribution. This is implementation of our election promise to open the lists and on the local level to bring more democracy. With regards to our efforts, we participated in a mixed system independently, in a mixed majority proportional system. We won 2 MPs from the majority list, 2 from a proportional list. In 2011 we participated in the elections with proportional model with 6 election districts. We did not win an MP seat, but that was not a big deal. Our sister party from Germany, because the ambassador is here, I was reminded our sister party FDP in the elections before did not win a single MP seat, but that was a process of thinking of creating new policies to assess the issue, to see what the problem is that the German voters did not vote for them. And FDP now has 10% of support of citizens for the parliament after they analyze the shortcomings. This is not a problem. This is a confirmation of whether your party has a basis, whether it has an ideology, and whether it can make itself stronger and win MP seats in the next elections. If it does not win any seats, even then the issue is whether it should really exist on the political scene. We should not have such political parties that are there for decoration only, that are there to just give more numbers to a big political party. This is why we're pledging for open lists, for democratization of the society, which should begin with the democratization in the parties. Centralized political parties, that way of ruling in the political parties is then reflected in the state, and this is why as much as we try to free some processes, we are unable to do it when the matrix from the political party is then transposed in the ruling with the country. We believe that party-sized society will begin its disassembling once there is a single polling district and once the lists are open. In Croatia, for the election of MEPs, somebody who was last on the list received more votes than the party leader, and that is an indication who is the voters' preference for a leader of this party, who is the person that the voters trust regarding a certain party. And it would not be amiss to apply this in our political system. I would like to share some views regarding other problems that we are dealing with as political parties, especially the smaller ones among us, and there is the equal treatment in the election campaign. We have a situation when the media space is divided between the two political parties, and there is very small space for the others. For the local elections, independent voters, independent lists have faced the issue of not being able to advertise because they were not foreseen. Some lists could not have been adequately advertised because it was not possible under the law. We believe that in the campaigns, all political parties start from zero. Nobody should have an advantage and all be positively handicapped at the start. We should all have equal treatment in media presentations. We should have equal time available so that the citizens can hear and be informed of all our political ideas and positions. If we do not have time to present ourselves, why will people vote for us? The experiences from the United States, I was present there, invited by the American Embassy. I was invited when there was voting for council members. Practically, on the voting day, every voter that is not part of the voters list have the right to add their name. It is impermissible, as here, that the President of the Parliament could not vote at the referendum because he was not included in the voters list. It is impermissible that there could be a laptop, there could be a state election committee representative who could check your name, see if you are noted there or in another polling station, and give you the right to vote on the spot. This is how it is done in the United States. So this solution is so practical, I can't see why it should not be applied in our country. On the voting day, they are still lobbying, and what is most interesting, you do not require an ID card or a passport to be able to vote. People go there, vote, trusting that they are the eligible voter, they state their name, and they just vote. If this is done here, one could not predict who will be voting where. So we should also increase the degree of trust and of honesty when somebody is voting. This practice with fingerprinting is impermissible for me. If you give an electronic fingerprint, you will know if the person is part of the voters list, and you will automatically know that if they have voted already. We forgot about this once we are in power. We had this idea at the time when it was not technically possible, but we should rethink it because this is the simplest way to clarify to purge the election list, because the citizens will be able to vote once only, and this will prevent any misuse of ID cards, of adding dead people to the voters list. And now that we're in power, we should implement this. We should allow the State Election Committee to implement this, because we were advocating this when we were in the opposition. Also, it is impermissible that other parties, just the big ones, have their representation in the election boards. There should be at least one representative of the smaller parties also. They should be given the right to decide how they are allocated around the country, but it should not be just the big parties, because one of the suspicions was that the votes given to smaller political parties were destroyed in the past. That was one of the arguments presented by all of us who were participants in the elections, but we received very few votes. So, In conclusion, I and we as a party are for a change of this election model. It was demonstrated that it creates a crisis in a cyclical fashion, and then the crises are resolved by the four presidents of biggest parties sitting down with the president of the state. That brings about a hybrid solution that is not truly proper. It leads us to another crisis then, and we are not trying to change this once and for all, to change the election system, to find a new solution that will not lead to political crisis any longer in our country. We believe that one election district, prohibition of coalitions before the elections will mean that the parliament will be populated by those who truly enjoy the trust of the citizens. It is not true that this will mean reduced number of seats for the Albanian parties, but even if it were, we should not be increasing the number of MPs artificially. Everybody should receive number of votes according to the standing they have in public. Even now, when we have 6 election districts, the Albanian parties did receive less votes. So it is not about the number of election districts, but the number of your supporters. It does not hold true that the bigger parties would receive less. With the current rating of the bigger parties, smaller political parties are the ones who might win 5 to 7 MPs. And now, with the big coalition, smaller parties are represented with between 10 and 15 MPs in coalition, so there are maybe 10, 12 MPs, which means that the bigger parties will actually win more MPs from their ranks compared to the situation now. So this is not an argument against either. And therefore, I think that if there is political will, we should find the strength to finally bring some freshness to the political system, and as smaller parties we have a situation that 12 MPs have joined together. They have raised this initiative on a single list. They should have their representative in the body negotiating and deciding on the election reforms. I believe that as MPs we should have someone representing our interests. It would be very easy to elect one of us, one of those 12 MPs who would participate in the body and discuss a change of election models. This is all I have to say. Maybe I forgot something, but let's leave something to the others. Thank you.